Hey everybody, Agrarian Libertarian here with you again. One of the biggest things coming out of this legislative session in North Dakota here is the red flag bill that was just proposed and has gone to committee as of now. What that is if you guys are familiar with what the red flag laws are, other states have enacted legislation that where people can report other people to law enforcement if these people in question are maybe depressed or what have you. Basically, they're being reported to law enforcement, and law enforcement comes to take away their guns because they pose a possible safety risk and hazard to the greater of society. And hard to believe, but we actually have something like that being proposed now in the legislature. Currently, it is called House Bill 1537, being sponsored by Representatives Hansen, Dr. Kaiser, Sanford, Satram, and Schauer, and Senators Lee, Oban, and Pullman, and then also Rich Wardner, Republican, and Senate Majority Leader. Basically, this law creates and enacts a new chapter in the Century Code and relates to the seizing of firearms by law enforcement officers and an issuance of public safety protection order. So basically, that's a fancy way of saying that if you have a neighbor who, or not a neighbor, if you have a family member who thinks that you're a risk to society, they can get in touch with the county or local law enforcement and say, hey, this person has, it may potentially pose a risk to society. We need to take away the guns because he or she might do something. And this is a dangerous piece of legislation, guys. I don't know what to say other than that. If you ever read the bill text, and if I remember, I'll link the actual link in the description for you guys to read. This means that if this law were to pass, someone, and according to the definitions, so somebody in your family, like a child or a spouse, even a current or an ex-spouse, or a current or ex-boyfriend or girlfriend, can report you and have your guns taken away. So this is ripe for abuse because you could have an ex spouse, a vindictive person. They could just march right in and say, hey, this guy, this gal, whoever, treated me wrong, so I'm going to get revenge and take away the guns and make this person's life a living hell. It should be obvious that this is a massive overreach of the government, disguised as public safety. We all know it's not that at all. This is a violation of the Second Amendment, obviously, Fourth Amendment, even more obviously, and even Fifth Amendment violations. This is a punishment being laid down without a crime ever have even been committed. And then how about, is it stopping pre-crime? Well, unfortunately, that's not how our law system works. We can't stop crime before it happens. That's when we start verging on trampling on people's rights. Unfortunately, as much as we can try as we might to prevent crime from happening, there's just no reasonable way that we can stop all crime from ever happening to begin with. So, like I said before, you could have a vindictive law enforcement neighbor who could easily do this to you. They could, if you have a neighbor who's who you've had a scuffle with for a long time, who's a law enforcement officer, he could just abuse his power as a law enforcement officer and demand that you'd be dragged to a trial hearing, and where he could lie under oath, commit perjury to frame you, the normal citizen, as the bad guy, and you can have your guns taken away for up to a year. That's not right. It's not right at all. This is a drastic overstep of definitely the state government into the people's lives. Or how about a bitter ex? What if a bitter ex comes in and decides that they want to make your life a living hell? This is the way to do it. This is ripe for abuse. And this is a very, very poorly thought out bill. In fact, it should have never been thought out to begin with. It is god-awful. Now, getting to this next part, you have to understand, guys, that this is the kind of crap we expect from Democrats in this, not from Republicans. You have to realize that I believe there's 8 in total, 8 or 9 legislators between the representatives and the senators sponsoring this. 2 are Democrats, the rest are Republicans. If you're a Republican, that should honestly scare you, because typically if you're on my channel and you're a Republican watching this, you are pro-gun. Your beloved Republican Party, the NDGOP, you have Representative Doctor, who's from District 7, a Republican, sponsoring this bill. Kaiser, Sanford, Santrum, and Shower, all Republicans. You have Rich Wardner, the Senate Majority Leader, a Republican, sponsoring this. Pullman from Bismarck, a Republican, who's sponsoring this. And then, of course, you have your Democrats, Representative Hansen and Senator Oban, your 2 token Democrats that are sponsoring this. Of course they will, because, that's their party line. But now we have the rest of those Republicans towing the Democrat party line. Like I said, we expect this from the Democrats, but not the Republicans. Well, maybe we should start expecting it from the Republicans, because they're going to keep trying to pass garbage like this. Basically, the legislators listed, every single one of them, whether or not they're Democrat or Republican, they're violating their oaths of office to uphold and protect and defend the Constitution of the United States, to uphold, protect, and defend the Constitution of the state of North Dakota. Now, here's the thing, is that this bill doesn't change anything in the Constitution. It all goes to the Century Code. And as we all know, the Century Code is not superseded by the North Dakota Constitution, or obviously the U.S. Constitution. But somehow, by making this change to the Century Code, we're expected to abide by it. Century Code is all... That's a whole other video. I could make a video about that, how the Century Code is just... all of it is not actually law. But whole other video for another time. But long story short, Senate Majority Leader Rich Wardner should resign. Representative Doctor and Pullman and the rest of those Republicans that I listed, they should just register as Democrats, because you know what? That's what they are. They're Democrats in sheep's clothing. Or Republicans' clothing. Sheep's clothing, Republicans' clothing, same thing. You guys have to realize that a red flag law like this has been carried out in other states. This bill has the potential, if passed, to place law enforcement lives at an even greater risk than they are already when they carry out their daily duties. Why would we want that to happen? And also the guise of public safety, it's not a good thing. This is not a good thing, guys. So I could really, this is something that I could really add to my other video that I did about Representative Eric Swalwell from California wanting to nuke Americans to take away their guns. This is kind of part 2 of that saga in a way, where North Dakota Republicans in flagrant defiance of the Second Amendment, their own party platform, as well as common sense and natural rights. They're violating all of that in order to come in here and under the guise of public safety start to take away people's guns for a crime that had not been committed yet. I suppose there's people more eloquent than I that can really push this home, but you guys really need to understand that a red flag law cannot pass, should not pass our legislature. Thank God we have some amazing folks in the House, especially the House, who will vote against this. I know Representative Luke Simons will. Representative Rick Becker will vote against this red flag law, or red flag bill, excuse me. We need principled people to be in the legislature, guys. We need people like Luke Simons and Rick Becker to really lead the way and stop crappy bills like this from being proposed, let alone them even making it to a committee hearing, or even a stupid bill like this even put to the floor for a general vote. We need to stop this. You guys need to get in touch with your legislators from your district and tell them to vote no on this. Do not pass this bill. It is a terrible bill. It's under the guise of public safety, when really, who are we making more safe? Nobody. We're making nobody more safe with a law like this. So that's all I have for you guys for now. Like I said, guys, get in touch with the legislators. Tell them not to pass garbage like this, because we expect them to tackle real issues, like how there are certain departments in the North Dakota government that are hoarding cash and still demanding more funds from the legislature every biennium. It's getting out of hand, guys. We need to start reining in our state's government. So that's all I have for you for now. I was thinking about a new outro for this video, and I'm thinking it'll go like this: hands off my beef, eat your bacon, and say thank you to Ron Paul. Catch you later, guys.